it's so much more because I need these kids to know that when they take something on like this, that it's a lot of work.
Yes.
That this is not going to be easy. And I'm not letting them off the hook.
No. Ooh, that's better, right, babe?
Yeah!
Yeah. She founded an architectural concrete company.
He founded a $100 million clothing company.
She took the world by storm as a social media star.
He took the world by storm as a famous serial entrepreneur.
Together we started a business.
And had babies.
Now we're figuring out the best ways to do both.
Join us as we learn from other entrepreneurs going through the same life struggles.
As they share their life hacks about success, love, kids.
And everything in between.
Don't just teach your kids to read. Teach them to question what they read. Teach them to question everything. Quote by George Carlin. Listen, friends, you can't be what you can't see.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur Parents Podcast. My name is Dan Caldwell. I'm your host, and I'm here with my other beautiful host and my wife. And my wife.
Ildiko Ferenczi.
I only have one other host. But we actually have two other hosts, but they're not here right now.
Yes, that's true.
And it's happened. It's finally happened, and we're super excited to announce that the Entrepreneur Kids
Legacy Show. We're trying to remember.
It's a podcast. Has just launched. And it is available now, and it is already climbing up the charts.
In the top 10. It's so crazy.
Well, it's almost there. Yeah, it's right there. And it's coming, and it's big, and it's exciting, and the kids are so excited to tell everybody, and we've never been happier for them. And we want to tell you why we did it. Hey guys, we hope you're enjoying today's episode of the Pretty and Punk Podcast. And if you are, and you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, it just takes a second. It means so much to us because it really helps the podcast get out there to more listeners like you guys. And if you know anybody it might help and you can send it to them, we really appreciate that too.
We also love and appreciate your reviews. Even the babies look forward to them every day. If you share this episode on social media today, don't forget to tag us. We want to celebrate you because we know it's not easy being a parent in business, and the way that you juggle things makes you a superhero. That's worth a shout out. Together, we have a community of our personal followers as well, and we just want to put it out there. We want to show everybody that this juggle is possible, and you are our family, and we're so proud and grateful to have you a part of this family. So don't forget, all the links are below in the show notes. And thank you again, and let's get back to the show. This show is about why our children started a podcast and why that just might be the best decision we ever made as parents. Because guys, listen, there's a lot of noise out there about kids and devices and about how this generation especially is already addicted to screens and lacking discipline and missing purpose. And that's a scary thought. But what if we were to tell you that your kids might just be ready for something more? So today's episode isn't just about the children launching a podcast.
But that's a big part of it.
It is. But what it's truly about is what happens when you invite your children into your world, when you stop just raising them and start equipping them.
Yeah. Listen, pause the show. I just have to say it because I didn't say it at the opening of the show. Pause the show and go follow their podcast. The Entrepreneur Kids
Legacy
Show. I'm still getting the full name down. Because we gave them the choice. We wanted to give them the choice. We wanted to give them choices.
Well, we didn't start the podcast.
Yeah, they started the podcast. Yeah,
they've
been talking about it, and I kept telling them. I kept telling them, this is going to be, it's a lot of work, guys. It's a lot of work.
Listen up, friends. You don't want to miss this one. It may be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Are you an entrepreneur, a parent, or someone building something that truly matters? Well, then you need to hear this. This is your invitation to step into the spotlight on one of Apple's top 10 podcasts, the Entrepreneur Parent Pretty and Punk podcast. I'm Ildiko Ferenczi, and alongside my husband, Dan Caldwell, we host conversations that most families are too afraid to have. From building a legacy to balancing marriage, parenting, and business, the struggles, the juggles, and the breakthroughs, this is where life meets real impact. With thousands of downloads, a loyal audience of parents, and legacy-driven couples, this is more than exposure. It's a loyal connection. You'll walk away with a high-impact feature episode, pro content clips to elevate your brand, and credibility standing beside voices that are shaping the next generation. Your story could be the light someone's praying for in their darkest moment. If you're building something that truly matters, you're not just invited, you're needed. Apply now. Spots are limited. If you feel that tug on your heart, don't wait. Message us right now at contact@prettyandpunk.com. That's contact@prettyandpunk.com. And they know because they understand, because they are a part of our show. So we have one podcast and they basically have two. But they used to say that our podcast was their podcast, which I love that.
They would tell
love that.
And it was good. We encouraged it.
Yes.
They told everybody they had a podcast. And that's why they were part of the opening of the show and they were part of the outro of the show.
Yeah.
And we wanted to always make them a part of it.
And forevermore, they will be. But they wanted to use their voice to help other children, not to, not for other purposes, but just that. Because they've been watching us build. They've been watching us build several different things. Some things worked out, some things didn't work out. And I feel that because they were a part of our journey, now they want to create something of their own. And I feel like you can choose anything. You can choose a lemonade stand. You can choose perhaps you have a jewelry business. Perhaps you have a t-shirt business. They've heard our late night conversation. They've seen our work ethic, and they felt the purpose behind what we do.
And we were always talking about Daniel's. We had these conversations with Daniel early on because he wanted to be a speaker, and Destiny too. Destiny's always there, and because we knew she would follow. She's younger, and she would follow in Daniel's footsteps. But he's always wanted to help people and change people's lives. He uses those words, and I think he got them from us, but he's been speaking those words for as long as he's been talking.
Speaking greatness. And you guys know the story. As soon as I found out I was pregnant with Daniel, I was praying and speaking powerful words over him.
This kid's been watching Tony Robbins since he was 1 year old.
And then when he wanted a baby sister, he told me I was going to have a baby sister. And I looked at him in disbelief. But he would just pray over my tummy, kiss my belly every day. 30 days later, I'm telling you, 30 days after his birthday, after years of not being able to get pregnant with him, I was pregnant. And then what's even crazier, I told him, I said, perhaps it may be a little boy. We don't know because we have a male-dominant family, and I want to prepare him. I don't want to have a broken heart. But he said, no, it's a little girl. We find out it's a little girl. So he's speaking over, I'm speaking over, we're speaking over this beautiful little baby girl in my belly. And it's just so crazy how it all falls together. And then now they want in. They want into what we're doing even more.
They want to say they have their own podcast because and they want to talk about the things that they want to talk about. Mm-hmm. And it's all centered around leadership and being an entrepreneur as a kid, and that's the core of the show.
They understand creating legacy, and I feel like once you become a parent, that's one of the most important things is pouring into them to break chains. We'll talk about we'll have a whole podcast about breaking chains, but just leading their legacy in a way, and the next generation, perhaps we're not able to reach everybody that we need to, but perhaps they will, and their children and their children's children. They're going to do these things. And I just want to say that this isn't something just to keep them busy and out of our hair. This is handing,
there'll be much more in my hair than out of my hair.
This is handing them the mic because we want them to truly understand, not just pushing them into corner, giving them a device and, get out of our hair. It's about letting them know that they matter. And this is what we need to do as parents, really let our children understand that they matter, that their voice is powerful, and let them build something real, whatever that is.
But it's so much more, because I need these kids to know that when they take something on like this, that it's a lot of work.
Yes.
That this is not going to be easy. And I'm not letting them off the hook.
No.
I mean, Daniel is going to be editing his own podcast.
Yeah, and Destiny.
Of course, they have to prepare
They have their scripts to study.
I mean, I can remember when I was little, I used to race bikes when I was really young, probably about Daniel's age. And I used to race bikes. And in the BMX at kind of the not the highest level, but I used to race for a company called JMC. And when we were racing bikes, my dad was a machinist, so he always knew everything. He knew about the metals and how to put all this stuff together. And I really never worried about it at the beginning too much when I was early on in my racing career. And one day he said, "Hey, I need you to put all this sprocket together." I was like, "Well, why do I got to put it together?" He goes, "Because you're the one racing in it, and I need you to know how it all works. Because if you understand how it works, and you understand the work that it takes that we have to put into it to get it going, to make it work, then you're going to appreciate it to the point where, because you have to appreciate all the equipment that you're on and that you're using. That's going to bring you across the finish line." And he made me put the whole hub together, all the sprockets together, all the cranks, everything. It was all disassembled. And because we had bought a new sprocket, and I had to put all that together. And I just remember, not only feeling the satisfaction that I had done that, and it felt good, but also just knowing that this was that not only could I race, but I knew everything about the bike now. That was the hardest thing. That was the one thing. I had done little things before on the handlebars, moved my handlebars and shifted things around, changed my pedals out. But that was the easy stuff. This was the hardest thing to do, dealing with the hubs, dealing with all that part of the bike. And it gave me so much satisfaction in being able to do that. And that's what I wanted for these kids. I wanted them to understand if they're going to do their own podcast, because we do a lot with this podcast. We have our own podcast and we deal with that. And they see that. They watch us, but it's different when you hand them the tools and you say, "Here, now it's go time for you. You want to do it? You want to do it? Well, then you have to do it. You have to come up with the subject matters. You have to come up. You have to get ready to record. You have to re-edit.
You have to study.
You have to come up with your whatever parts of that show that you want to implement, because they talked about a lot of different things. We didn't do everything day one, but as they implement these things into the show, they're going to have to do it.
Yeah,
and they're going to
learn.
They're going to have to gain that work ethic. And so I'm excited to see them move forward. And that's why we say, and that's personally why I think this is one of the most important things we've done.
Yeah, and I love that. I mean, there's nothing better than family integration. If you're dating, if you're married and it's only your husband and the two of you, I feel like integrating, building something together is just so incredible. And I was brought up like this as a child. Entrepreneurship isn't just a business model, it's a mindset. And just how you were included, how your dad taught you that. I was so lucky to have my mother believe in me. I mean, obviously as a single mother, she didn't have a choice, but she had to include me. But it was the best and happiest memories. And also, I loved working in the jewelry store. I loved working the antique shop. I loved starting the party shop by myself. but it's so crazy. I started the brick and mortar shop by myself at 13, but I was serving customers at 8 in the jewelry store. But what I do love about my mom, even with the house flipping, I was talking to you earlier about it. With the house flipping, it sounds great, and you may want to get into it, but I'm so grateful that I got to taste it, because we'd get these houses and we'd go in, and she'd try to be positive, like, look at all the free stuff that we got with it. But then I remember her sitting me down one day, because we did a lot of stuff. We traveled every year to Europe. She made it happen. She kept those payments. I was in the best school in my city. I was with all the people that had two parents. One was a doctor, one was an attorney, and we were keeping up. And I've never been so proud of my mother, because we should have been in the bad side of the tracks. We should have been on welfare, on stamps, on food stamps, and whatever else. But we weren't, because we worked our buns off. We did all the extra things. And going back to when she sat me down, she said, I don't really want you flipping houses. It's gross. It's dirty. It's disgusting. I know it is. I know it is, honey, but I am so proud of you for doing this beside me, because we're making great money, but this isn't what I want for you. I'd love to pass the jewelry store on to you, or to see you start a business of your own. And at 16, I realized I don't want to do the party shop. I want to do the jewelry store. I love the clients that come in. I love that we've created like a family. But the one thing that I really, really respect about my mom too is she wanted me to work for the big man too. She wanted me to taste it, because she just wanted me to understand all aspects, the dirty flipping houses. She wanted me to understand real estate. She wanted me to understand creating a business. She wanted me to come up with a business idea of my own. She didn't say, start a party shop. She said, if you could start anything in the world, what would you do? And she was just my mentor. She didn't tell me how to do it. I had to wholesale, buy the stock myself. I'd have to do trial and error and figure out what would sell in the store, what didn't sell, how that felt when something failed. But we don't call it fail. We call it a lesson. It's the most valuable lesson. Coming up with ads for the radio and whatever else. She just was so great like that.
Well, that's the thing. She put you to work.
She put me to work.
She made you go through that.
She made me go through everything, all of it.
And that's what we're doing right now for the kids.
But real quick, when I went to go work for the man, it was different. I had to study binders and even study scripts to talk to the customer. And I just thought, this is insane. Are you kidding me? I was so natural at speaking to the customers, and I sold a lot of stuff. I went to work in a clothing store, and then I hated it, but I was very good at it because I was just a good saleswoman. I was a good entrepreneur because of all the stores. But I couldn't wait to leave, and I quit. And I told her I did, and then she wanted me to try one more, which was the waitressing. And I loved talking to the people, but no, it wasn't for me. But I'm so glad that she pushed me to try it. The tips were great, but I'm not going to be a career waitress.
But you got to see.
But you have to try it all.
Sometimes you have to see what you don't like. And I love the fact that, it's a great, I think step one is always showing your kids that you are willing to do the work, that you are willing to do it yourself. You're willing to practice what you preach. If you're telling your kids to chase their dreams, you're chasing your dreams. And because a lot of people don't do that. And so the kids go, why would I believe that I can chase my dreams? You're telling me to chase my dreams, but you're not chasing your dreams. You're not doing what you say I should do. So why should I do it?
And we're in a weird generation where people are just consuming content. And then even the video games are so addictive right now.
Well, they consume so much, they don't do. That's what's scary is so many kids consume, and they become watchers, not players, not people out on the field. The people out on the field are the doers.
Yeah.
They're the ones actually going through it. And you got so many fanboys, so many people out there, with the wearing somebody else's jersey. And I don't want my kid wearing somebody else's jersey.
Well, they're
I
not
want them
even
wearing
into-
their own jersey.
Yeah.
Well, I just mean metaphorically, I mean, they're not that I don't. I mean, I'm a fan of other people's, but I'm also a doer. So I'm a fan of
What was that the other day
people's
that,
podcasts.
that Daniel and
What?
Destiny were asking us about? And I think you were talking about sports. And he goes, Jeff Bezos? Steve Jobs? And we're like, no, they're all
those guys
entrepreneurs.
those are entrepreneurs. They are sports people.
It was the funniest thing. But they soak up everything, and it's just
that's great.
it's
That's
so precious.
that's step one, right? But this is the next step is how do you put them in that place? How do you do that for them? Give them that opportunity so that they can do something now.
Before you reach for that coffee, consider this. What if the energy boost you're looking for isn't in your cup, but in your cells? I challenge you to swap your morning coffee for Shilajit by Symbiotica. And here's what can happen. No crash, no jitters, just clean, sustained energy, plus mental clarity and trace minerals that our bodies actually need, that are actually starving for, to be honest. This isn't just a supplement. It's an ancient adaptogen sourced from the Himalayas that supports mitochondrial function, stamina, and overall vitality. Your coffee never did that. Okay, let's just be honest. Try it for a week and tell me your body doesn't thank you. Symbiotica's Shilajit is next level wellness, and honestly, you may never go back to drinking coffee. Click the link below down in the bio and get your Shilajit today. Yes, and I think that's what we've learned about the entrepreneurship journey with them, that responsibility, it builds resilience, and leadership, it begins at home. Guys, it doesn't have to be something crazy, but leadership begins at home, and creativity is sparked when kids are trusted, and confidence comes when kids are heard. So really listen to them. Don't push them off. I know we're so busy as parents, but that's the other thing when we're talking about consuming content. They didn't want to do another YouTube channel. They chose audio because they wanted children to listen, to use their imaginations, and to have conversations with their families about the things that matter, like purpose and faith and business and leadership and health and fitness. And they wrote all these things down, and they came up with that idea of, hey, we want to do something audio because then they can be playing and just listening, and babies can listen just like we listen to Ed Milet and Tony Robbins. And it's just, I love that back and forth banter. And perhaps it's something different in your family. Perhaps you have a farm or you have a clothing store. Just encourage that. And I guess a therapist-backed and research-based, we want to touch on that too. This isn't just a good idea. It's backed by science and supported by experts. According to Stanford's Development of Psychology journal, children who are given real responsibilities develop stronger self-confidence and internal motivation. And this is how we grew up back in the day. My mother was brought up on a farm. I was just telling Dan, everybody in my mother's family was successful. They were doctors, they were attorneys, like not just like a mediocre attorney, like big time. Everybody was successful.
Well, because back then you were given chores.
You were
and things
yes.
you responsibility.
The farm
now
was the
I feel like
business,
kids
and you guys
hardly
are-
have any responsibility, like real responsibility.
And then their children's children are all successful as well. So I feel this is not only scientifically, just think back in the generations in your family. And if it somewhere went astray, you need to break those chains.
What's also important about it is consistency, because they're going to learn there's going to come a day when they don't feel like doing it. that they may not want to sit down and they would, rather do something else, go outside and run the field or whatever, they go play ball or ride their scooters or whatever. They're going to want to do something, and we're going to tell them, look, no, you got to get some shows done. And so you need to sit down and get some shows done.
They love it.
So you need to. I know they love it. I know
Yeah.
they love it. But I don't care who you are. You love it. But there's going to come a day where they're going to want to do that, and I'm going to remind them. You're going to remind them. Somebody's going to remind them.
But when have they ever missed a show, our show? And they should.
I know they wouldn't miss it. They jump in here and they go do it.
Sometimes the
But
littlest
this is a little
one,
bit more
she's
work.
tired.
This is more work.
She's tired, and then I feel like when you have the conversation, I don't care how old your kids are, but I always have a conversation with my kids. My mom did that with me. She didn't tell me because I said so, or you have to do this. We would have a conversation, and I would understand clear as day, clear as a diamond, why I would have to do something. And there was always a brilliant reason behind it.
And they wanted to do it. So that's my response. Remember when you wanted to start your own podcast?
That sounds so negative.
No,
Let
it's
me
not
talk to
negative.
them.
It's the truth. It's like, I'm going to remind them that you wanted to start your own podcast.
Yeah, but for me,
now, today is go time.
Sure,
and so you
but
can't, no excuses.
For me, if I'm having a conversation with the children and they start creating an audience, just like we have a huge audience, they're depending on us to show up. These are the things I say to Destiny is they're depending on us to show up. And if the show is different, they enjoy every bit of the show, and you're just as much as you're as important as the rest of the show. So if you miss, then how is that going to make everybody feel? They're looking forward to hear you.
And I love that you explain it like that.
And
I
then
love
she
that.
gets so excited, and she's like, "You're right, Mama. Let's do it. Let's do it."
That's mom.
So she's so
that's mom
sweet.
Explanation.
No, but listen,
I love it. I love it.
The Gottman Institute.
When I come,
listen,
it's going to be, hey.
I know, because you love you give me this nervous energy. I literally, the other day, I worked almost 3 hours doing notes for a podcast, a future podcast. And he's like, la, 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 la. Like he has this energy, and it's like, I erased it. It was gone. I couldn't even shake the phone to bring it back.
I got blamed. Somehow I got blamed.
Because your energy is so scary and weird.
Something.
And I was like, oh my gosh. Anyway, back to the Gottmans. Listen, Gottman Institute, it shows that kids mirror, and we know this, right? Kids mirror what they constantly see. If you are working hard, solving problems, and staying connected as a family, they're going to do it too. Just like if you're living your marriage a certain way, it's how people get toxic traits, mother wounds, father wounds, or they have a beautiful, healthy marriage because of what they saw when they were growing up. Affection, love, communication, strong communication, having the conversations that are tough, and being able to navigate it without losing your temper and all the other stuff. You guys know what we're talking about. But back to the business part, when they see how you delegate business, they're going to do it. So it's the real value. We believe legacy doesn't start someday. It has to start now. It has to start when they're young, because you can't just expect when they're 18 they're going to figure it out. Our kids are learning to be led and to take feedback and to practice. So we are the people that they're not going to learn that in school, okay? And they're not going to learn to serve in school. They're going to learn to become worker bees in school, and that's fine if they're in school. Or if they're homeschooled, they're going to learn other really valuable skills. But just remember, these are things that if they're in school, they're not going to be taught. So you need to be the one to step up. We as parents, I'm not saying you, I'm not pointing anybody out, because this is me. I take this so, it's not a grain of salt to me. This is very important. And these kids, our kids are going to be writing notes, brainstorming topics, and preparing to speak boldly in a world that tells kids to stay quiet. That happens often.
And not just that. Listen,
voice.
One of the most important things you can teach your kids, or probably the most important thing that the gift that you can give to your kids, is to be a good conversationalist, to be able to talk to
that's
people, to be a
important.
salesman. And we don't give our kids that, they surely don't give your kids that opportunity in school. And we need to be able to give that to our kids somehow, some way, whether you're putting them in a position to sell something or do a podcast or do a YouTube show, whatever that is for them. Or whatever it is for you or for them, it needs to be a part of who growing up, because they don't, unfortunately, so many kids don't have that skill set, and then they're thrown out in the world and told to go make a living for themselves, and they don't know how to do this stuff, and then so
they're terrified to have a conversation with someone because they've been stuck in their devices for years.
And not that you can't make a great living sitting in front of a computer, I'm sure you can, but if you want to be the boss, you have to learn how to speak for yourself. So you could go, if you want to develop an app, you have to learn how to sell it. If you want to develop a new software, you got to learn how to sell it. So even if you're sitting in front of a computer, you can go get a regular wage just developing. But if you want to build something for yourself, you have to know how to be a conversationalist, to be able to sell something. And that's why this was so. Another reason why it was so important.
It's a great topic because you don't have to start a podcast. It's a lot of work. Oh my gosh, it's a lot of work. But what you should do is you need to give your kids a piece of whatever you're building, because I just know that it's going to be.
What does that mean exactly?
A piece of whatever you're building, whatever they're doing at home. Perhaps, as I said, maybe they have an antique shop. Maybe they're whatever.
Oh, so take part in whatever you're doing.
Yes, because that's just a small step. It's a nice challenge. Don't go out of it, because we as parents, we're already struggling. We're having this struggle and the juggle, and don't go. We're doing this. We have a podcast. We have a huge audience, but even Daniel, he wants to speak. I don't ask people to put him on their stage. I know I could, and I'm convincing, and I know I can ask people, but that's not going to teach my son anything. I said, do you want it? You want to be on that person's stage? You call him. You send them a message. You tell them why you need to be on that stage. But I'm the missing voice. I'm the voice that needs to be on that stage because this, and the other. I said, tell him. And he's the one reminding me, is it too soon? Is it too late? Can I check in again? And he's delegating that. He's booking himself. I'm not doing any of it. Because if I were to do that, that would be a disservice for him. Yeah. Because he would know, my mom got me on this stage.
We could easily do this whole podcast by ourselves for him.
Absolutely.
But we're not doing that.
They're not going to
doing that.
So that's what I'm saying is give them a piece of what you're building and start with that. So this week, I'm going to give you a couple things that you can implement. Ask your kids for input on something that matters. This could be anything that matters to them. And let them help make a decision that affects the family. Perhaps you're building, summer's coming, maybe you're building a trip or whatever you're doing. Let them make decisions that affect the family. I have a family that we're close to, and their kids book the entire summer vacation or their European trip. It's really cool. Now, give them a mini project, organize a space, create a plan, start a family newsletter, for your own family, or a video journal for your family. This is something that they could put away and they have it for their family. So just come up with some really great ideas. Start that. Another thing is let them create without screens, record an audio story, for their future kids, or start a video memo.
Or do a post on your page.
Yeah, idea journal.
Let them do a post on your page where
if you feel comfortable. You don't have to. That's a big step.
Yeah, but have them, put together something that's maybe inspirational or that they can talk for a few minutes, and just give them some responsibility, give them some room to think for themselves.
That's kind of that video journal. Because I know some moms that we're friends with, they're like, no way, no how, no way. I don't want my kid on social. And I respect that. So you could do a personal video journal for your home. And even lead a prayer at dinner. So just let them create without screens. And then also use the word legacy with them. Let them know they're a part of something bigger that's going to go on
Daniel's
for generations.
Legacy.
Yeah.
Legacy.
So I guess
he's always throwing that around.
Yeah, I love that. So closing thought, this isn't about raising perfect kids or children. It's not about that. It's about raising prepared ones. That's what's important. That's what we need. Prepared to lead, to love, to build, to serve. Because if we don't train the next generation to rise, the world will train them to settle. And we don't want that. Let's raise leaders, not just children.
Absolutely. Hey, you got me. You got me excited. Hey, listen, I hope you guys can follow the show. If you have kids, young kids, I know they'll get something out of this show. They're doing such a good job. I cannot be more excited for them. I mean, they're still learning. They've been on our podcast, but the first few podcasts were really good for them. They did an amazing job, and I'm so excited for them. I'm happy for them.
Subscribe.
And I love to see how proud they are. So if you haven't subscribed already, go on there and subscribe to Entrepreneur Kids Legacy Show. Entrepreneur Kids, it says right at the top. It's the first thing that'll come up. They're already climbing up the charts. They're already doing great. I know you guys will love the show too. You'll get something out of it. And we hope to see you back on our podcast, and we'll see you guys next week.
God bless. We love you so much, so much. And we're so proud of you, and keep sharing your stories of the struggles and the juggles and the wins. We love you guys so much. God bless. Take care. See you next week.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Entrepreneur Parents Pretty and Punk podcast. And just so you know, guys, we also launched our own podcast, me and my sister. It's called Entrepreneur Kids Legacy Show. Make sure to go check it out after you finish this message. We love you guys. Make sure to leave a review on our podcast and my parents. We love you so much. Leave a like and make sure to give us so much love, because we love you just as much as you love us. You guys are the best. God bless. Thank you for listening. I hope that changed your life.